Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Jabihari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhati Balaba Girivanadhati Gopi Jana Balaba Girivanadhati Vallabha Girivanadha Yasodanandana Vrajagana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajagana Ranjana Dana Vrajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari Vallabha Girivanadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari Yasodanandana Vrajagana Ranjana Nana Vrajagana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajagana Ranjana Nana Vrajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavacharya Satarya Satashishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gauda Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sakoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jamuna Mahi Ki Ganga Mahi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakta Devi ki. Shishi Radha Golokananda ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gora Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. So we're continuing our reading in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Madhya chapter 12, the cleansing of the Gandhika temple, Gandicha temple. And we're on text 179. So here they've cleansing the temple, kirtan, they've taken now they're distributing Jagannath Prasadam. Lord Chaitanya only wanted specific, perhaps, the sour meats, give all the sweet and all the, the good tasting stuff to the other devotees. He just take the sour preparations, But then the devotees just gave him the opulent prasadam, just a little bit. Sarvabhauma Vachacharya, here, just take a little bit of this, and then they just kept giving, prasadam. So 179 says Gopinathacharya also brought first-class food, and he offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya while speaking sweet words. All right, let's go one before that. Lord Chaitanya also wanted to offer Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first-class food. Therefore, out of affection, he had the servers put first-class food on his plate again and again. Gopinathacharya also brought first-class food and offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya while speaking sweet words. Omaganda Timarandasya Ganajana Shalakaya Chakshurani Tamina Taismai Sri Gurade Namaha. This is a little small example of how to serve. We're servants of the servants of the servants, and service also is an attitude that one has when they do service. When they do something for somebody, you're doing it, begrudgingly. You're doing it like, I'm forced to do this, and I don't really want to do it. So it actually comes across that mood. The face is the index of the mind, and so here we see the offering it with some devotion and love changes the whole mood, and really in this situation it changes the eat nicely and digest properly and a good consciousness instead of having one's mind disturbed. I'm sorry? That was 179. So 180. After serving the Bhattacharya with first-class prasadam, Gopinathacharya said, just consider what the Bhattacharya's previous mundane behavior was. Just consider how, at present, he is enjoying transcendental bliss. Purport. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was previously a smarta Brahmin, that is, one who strictly follows the Vedic rules on the mundane platform. On the mundane platform, one cannot believe that prasadam is transcendental, that Govinda is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that a Vaishnava is a liberated person. These transcendental considerations are out of the ordinary Vedic scholar's jurisdiction. Most Vedic scholars are called Vedantas. These so-called followers of Vedanta philosophy consider the absolute truth to be impersonal. They also believe that a person born in a particular caste cannot change his caste until he dies and takes birth. The Smarta Brahmins also reject the fact that the Mahaprasadam, food offered to the deity, is transcendental and materially uncontaminated. Originally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was subjected to all the rules and regulations of the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. Now, Gopinath Acharya pointed out how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had been converted by the causeless mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being converted, Sarvabhauma partook of prasadam with the Vaishnavas. Indeed, he sat by the side of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, he's one of many that was converted from this mentality, this Smarta Brahmana, caste Brahmin mentality, and this impersonalist Mayavadi mentality. There's a lot of stories where devotees, Mayavadis, who are engrossed in their misconceptions, and got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and then was able to surrender and accept Krishna as the original, all-pervasive personality, not just a temporary form. So, 181. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied to Gopinath Acharya, I was simply a less intelligent logician, but by your grace I received this opulence of perfection. But for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, who is so merciful as he has converted a crow into Garuda? Who could be so merciful? I guess there's some kind of a backstory there that I'm not familiar with, but we'll keep on. In the association of jackals known as logicians, I simply continued to bark a resounding blue blue. Now from the same mouth I am chanting the holy names, Krishna and Hari. So we read that Lord Chaitanya tested him one morning, that he came to see Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. This is after he had spoken to him and actually converted him and then revealed his personal form to him. And then he took some Mahaprasadam early in the morning and woke up Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and gave him that Mahaprasadam, some rice, and to see how he would react. Smarta Brahmins, there's no way when they get up, they have to wash their mouth, take a bath. They don't, there's certain ritualistic activities. But at the same time, once one receives Mahaprasadam, they must accept it and take it immediately. And so the Lord Chaitanya came, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took that Mahaprasadam and ate it. And Lord Chaitanya was very pleased. 184. Whereas I once associated with the disciples of logic, all non-devotees, I am now merged in the waves of nectarian ocean of the association of devotees. Purport. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur explains, the word Bahirmukta refers to a person who is very busy tasting material enjoyment. Such a person always poses himself as an enjoyer of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being attacked by external opulence, being attracted by external opulences, the non-devotee always forgets his intimate relationship with Krishna. Such a person does not like the idea of becoming Krishna conscious. This is explained by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 5, text 30 and 31. Matirka Krishna patas savatova viho vipadyate griha vartanam adanta gobir visatam tasimram puna punash charvita charvananam Nate vihu svartha katim ni vishnum dorasya ye bahir arthamanya andayat tandar upani yamanas te pisha tantrayam urdami buddhahi. Materialists who are overly attracted to the material body, material world, and material enjoyment cannot control their material senses. Who cannot control their material senses are carried by the darkest regions of material existence. Such people cannot become Krishna conscious either by themselves or by congregational effort. Such people do not understand the goal of life for a human being is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. A human life is especially meant for this purpose, and one has to go through all kinds of penances and austerities and set aside the propensity for sense gratification. Materialists always remain blind because they are always guided by blind rascals. A materialistic person considers himself free to act as he likes. He does not know that he is rigidly controlled by the stringent laws of material nature, nor does he know that he has to transmigrate from one body to another and perpetually rot in material existence. Such rascals and foolish people are lured by the prayers of their foolish leaders for sense gratification, and they cannot understand what is meant by Krishna consciousness. For the material world exists outside the spiritual sky. And a foolish materialist cannot estimate the extent of this material sky. What then can he know of the spiritual sky? Materialists simply believe their imperfect senses and do not take instructions from the revealed scriptures. According to Vedic civilization, one has to see through the authority of the revealed scriptures, Shastra Chaksusa. One should see everything through the medium of the Vedic literature. In this way, one can distinguish between the spiritual world and the material world. Those who ignore such instructions cannot be convinced of the existence of the spiritual world because they have forgotten their spiritual identity. Such materialists take this world as the all in all. They are therefore called Bahir Mukha. So Prabhupada's given a very unfortunate situation that the entire population finds themselves in. And in that condition, there's really no hope until they come in contact with a pure devotee of the Lord. When one is in darkness, they remain in darkness unless there's some kind of light. And the only kind of light that comes is from that shines from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Gana Tamaranda Shyagananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Om Taminitai Sri Gurave Namaha. Right, I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. So this is the process. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people reject that process. You know, they're so engrossed in material life, if it doesn't somehow improve their current material condition, they see no value in it. You know, if it doesn't pay their rent, help them, with their struggle for existence, then that's what they don't have no value. That's where they place the value on the anything in the material world. Well, how can it benefit me materially? So this is the point we find. But at the same time, they all get exhausted for the struggle in the material life. There's this point of frustration, and misery is constantly there. But even when people are in that condition, sometimes they think, well, this is part of life. You know, life is just meant to be hard this way. You just have to, keep going, and struggle through it. But they don't realize that this happens birth after birth after birth after birth after birth. And they don't understand that the soul is eternal. This is Bhagavad Gita, the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. So one of the first things that is taught is that you're not this body, that you're the spirit soul. So knowledge actually begins from that. And if one can understand some of those basic concepts, of course, people nowadays, you see, they're spiritualists, but they don't believe in a personality of God. That's another big part of society. They believe in some sort of spiritual life. And a lot of that becomes that we're so engrossed in our independence, and Prabhupada mentioned that here, that they don't want to act outside, they don't want to be overburdened by any other authority. And also Prabhupada points out here, and we talked about this, is about how people get stuck in these situations or born into a particular country where they have some kind of leader who drags them into a hellish condition, who actually keeps them into a, Prabhupada says here, such rascals and foolish people are lured by the prayers of their foolish leaders for sense gratification. So sense gratification is the main point, but even people that don't really get a lot of sense gratification, we're stuck in some of these third world countries where it's just suffering. Of course, you'd have to understand it's hard you can't preach to anybody that you can to a certain, they have to be receptive to their position of suffering. But ultimately it's karma that puts us in these different types of conditions of suffering. Something we've done that's put us in every condition, and what we continue to do will put us in a certain condition in the future until we eventually give up this struggle for existence, because we're not going to win. Krishna always wins. In every situation, you can't beat him. And that's in the 10th canto, we see that all these demons think they're going to come up with some, even all throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, they're all going to come up with some condition where how they're going to win over material nature, and even win against the Supreme Lord in some condition, but they always lose. Everybody loses. Okay, so 185. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, from your previous birth, you have been in Krishna consciousness. Thus you love Krishna so much that simply by your association, we are all developing Krishna consciousness. Thus, there is no one within the three worlds, save for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always willing to increase the glories of the devotees and give them satisfaction. Purport. In this regard, one should consult a discussion between Kapila Dev and Devahuti on the subject matter of devotional service. This is found in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto. 187. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then took the remnants of food offered to Jagannath, such as cakes and sweet rice, and distributed them to all the other devotees, calling them individually. Sri Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu sat side by side, and when prasadam was being distributed, they engaged in a type of mock fighting. They have a rasa, these two. It can be sometimes hard to understand how the Supreme Lord and these forms can debate with each other, fight with each other. First, Advaita Acharya said, I am sitting in line with an unknown mendicant, and because I'm eating with him, I do not know what kind of destination is awaiting me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the renounced order of life. Consequently, he does not recognize discrepancies. As a matter of fact, a sannyasi is not affected by eating food from anywhere and everywhere. According to the Shastras, there is no discrepancy in a sannyasi's eating at another's house. But for a householder Brahmin, this kind of eating is faulty. So this is actually another symptom of just strictly following the rules, this regulations. It is not proper for householders to dine with those whose previous birth, family, character, and behavior are unknown. Nityananda Prabhu immediately refuted Srila Vaitacharya's saying, "You are a teacher of impersonal monism, and the monistic conclusion is a great hindrance to the progressive pure devotional service. One who participates in your impersonal monistic philosophy does not accept anything but one Brahman." Purport. So here we go, dealing with, and we read a lot about a culture at that time where it's dominated by Mayavadis. And so even today, our culture is also dominated by Mayavadis. They primarily are led by atheistic scientists. These are the Mayavadis that it's just exactly the same, that those conditions they're dealing with, we deal with. And unfortunately, these Mayavad scientists think that they own history, that they write the history books and history belongs to them. But the fact of the matter is, history belongs to all of us, not just these Mayavadis. And so they reject these Srimad Bhagavatam, and they reject these other histories of all these other countries that have write them all off as like myths and fables, because they don't see, Krishna's chariot. They don't see evidence of any type of existence that they were here. But history belongs to all of us. And this is also an historic document. So here's Nityananda responding to Advaita Acharya. Purport. The impersonal monist does not believe that God is the only object of worship and that the living entities are his eternal servants. According to the monist, God and the devotee may be separate in the material state, but when they are spiritually situated, there is no difference between them. This is called Advaita Siddhanta, the conclusion of monist. Monists consider devotional service of the Lord to be a material activity. Therefore, they consider such devotional activities to be made the same as karma or fruitive activities. This monist mistake is a great stumbling block on the road to devotional service. Actually, this discussion between Advaita Acharya and Nityananda was a mock fight to serve as a great instruction for all devotees. Sri Nityananda Prabhu wanted to point out that Advaita Acharya, a pure devotee, did not agree with the monistic conclusion. The conclusion of devotional service is Vedanti tatat vatas tatvam yaj janam avadyam Brahmeti parameti bhagavan iti sabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 2, Text 11. Absolute knowledge consists of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. This conclusion is not the same as that of monist. Srila Advaita Acharya was given the title of Acharya because he spread the bhakti cult and not the philosophy of monism. The true conclusion of Advaita Siddhanta expressed at the very beginning at the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 1, Text 3, is not the same as the philosophy of the monist. Here, Advaita Siddhanta means Advaita Gyan, or oneness in variety. Actually, Srila Nityananda Prabhu was praising Srila Advaita Acharya through friendly mock fighting. He was given the Vaishnava conclusions in terms of the Bhagavatam's conclusive words. Varanti tattva vidhahi. This is also the conclusion of a mantra in the Chandogya Upanishad, Ekam, Evadvitam. A devotee knows that there is oneness in diversity. The mantras of the Shastras do not support the monistic conclusions of the impersonalists, nor does Vaishnava philosophy accept impersonalism without variety. Brahman is the greatest. He who includes everything and that is oneness. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 7, Mata Parataram Nityat. There is no one superior to Krishna himself. He is the original substance because every category emanates from him. Thus, he is simultaneously one with and different from all our categories. The Lord is always engaged in a variety of spiritual activities. But the monists cannot understand spiritual variety. The conclusion is that although the powerful and the power are one and the same, within the energy of the powerful, there are varieties. In those varieties, there is a distinction between the different parts of one's personal self, between types of the same category, and between types of different categories. In other words, there is always variety in categories, which are understood as knowledge, the knower and the knowable. Due to the external existence of knowledge, the knower and the knowable, the devotees everywhere know that the eternal existence of the form, name, qualities, pastimes, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotees never agree with monists preaching of oneness. Unless one adheres to the conceptions of the knower, the knowable, and knowledge, there is no possibility of understanding spiritual variety, nor can one taste the transcendental bliss of spiritual variety. The philosophy of monists is an adjustment of the Buddhist philosophy of voidism. And in mock fight with Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Nityananda Prabhu was refuting this type of monistic philosophy. Vaishnavas certainly accept Lord Krishna as the ultimate one, and that which is without Krishna is called Maya, or that which has no existence. External Maya is exhibited in two phases: Jiva Maya, the living entities, and Guna Maya, the material world. In the material world, there's Prakriti, material nature, and Pralan, the ingredients of material nature. However, for one who becomes Krishna conscious, the distinction between material and spiritual varieties does not exist. An advanced devotee like Prahlad Maharaj sees everything as one. Krishna, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 4, text 37, Krishna graha grihit atma naveda jagad idrisham. One who is in full Krishna consciousness does not distinguish between things material and spiritual. He takes everything to be related to Krishna and therefore spiritual. By Advaita Gan Darshan, Sri Advaita Acharya has glorified pure devotional service. Srila Nityananda Prabhu herein sarcastically condemns the philosophy of the impersonalist monists and praises the correct non-dual philosophy of Sri Advaita Prabhu. So, another thing is they think that everything is false. Krishna's form is temporary. Everything is temporary. We understand that it's real. It's only temporary. The illusion is there, but it's real. It's Krishna's energy. It's external energy. 195. Anybody have any questions or comments? Huh? Text 195. Nityananda Prabhu continued, "You are such a monist, and now I am eating beside you. I do not know how my mind will be affected in this way." So this is all affection. And when you have a relationship with somebody, the closer you are with that person and the more intimate are, the more you can talk in such a sarcastic way or make fun of them in a way or criticize them in a way. But if you don't know somebody, that same criticism could be taken as an offense. It's not as affectionate. They could take it the wrong way. When you're really close to somebody, you can even call them names. You can come up with some funny names with them. in your affectionate relationship with them. Okay, so he's eating beside you, and you wonder how this is going to affected by this way. So purport. Sangat sanjayate kama, Bhagavad Gita 2:62. One develops his consciousness according to society and association. As Srila Nityananda Prabhu admits, a devotee should be very careful when associating with those who are not devotees. When asked by a householder devotee what the behavior of a devotee should be, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Satsanga Tyag E Vaishnava Achara Shring Sangi Eka Asadu Krishna Bhakta Ara. Chaitanya Madhya 22:87. This is a conversation with Sanatana Goswami. Translation: a Vaishnava devotee should simply discard intimate association with non-devotees. In the Upadeshamrita 4, Srila Rupa Goswami has described the symptoms of intimate relationships in this way. Dadati pratigri nati gunyam akyati prichati bhukte bojayate chaiva sadvidham priti lakshanam. The word bhukte bojate indicate that one should eat with devotees. One should carefully avoid eating food offered to non-devotees. Offered by non-devotees, I'm sorry. Indeed, a devotee should be very strict in not accepting food from a non-devotee, especially food prepared in restaurants or hotels or in airplanes. Srila Nityananda Prabhu's reference in this connection is meant to emphasize that one should avoid eating with Mayavadis and convert Mayavadis like the Sahaja Vaishnavas, or materially affected. I mean, when you eat anything, you get the remnants. I mean, even you go down and take prasadam. Whenever you go down, the prasadam is offered to Krishna, and then some devotees come down and they take prasadam, and then somebody comes down and takes prasadam, and so you get the remnants of the remnants of the remnants. See, so you come down an hour later and 10 people have eaten, you've taken the remnants of all these Vaishnavas, including the remnants of Krishna. So it's the remnants of the remnants. So it's no different than eating food like in a restaurant or food prepared by, you're eating these particular people's remnants. And so their karma, you're taking a part of their karma, which is going to affect your consciousness. So this is, now we want to take the remnants of Vaishnavas because then it's beneficial. That's consciousness. The remnants of the remnants of the remnants of the remnants, it gets more relishable when you take the remnants of all the Vaishnavas, the dust of all the Vaishnavas' feet. 196. Thus they both went on talking and praising one another, although their praise appeared negative, for it appeared as if they exchanged ill names. Thereafter, calling all the Vaishnavas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed Mahaprasadam as if sprinkling nectar. At that time, the mock fight between Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu became more and more delicious. After taking their lunch, all the Vaishnavas stood up and chanted the holy name of Hari, and the resounding noise filled all the upper and lower planetary systems. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered flowered garlands and sandalwood pulp to all his devoted personal associates. The 7 persons headed by Swarup Damodar, who were engaged in distributing prasadam to others, then took their meals within the room. Govinda saved some remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and kept them carefully. Later, one portion of these remnants was delivered to Haridas Thakur. The remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were later distributed among devotees who begged for them, and finally Govinda personally took the last remnants. So he got the remnants of 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 all these Vaishnavas. You got the mercy of all these devotees. And that's the position we're being taught to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That's what we're being taught. Because that's how we have to plug ourselves in eventually. Whoever your Ishtadev is, whoever the Lord of your heart is, you have to plug yourself in. You got to get in line, basically. But the nectar is there, all the way down, regardless of where you're at, the nectar flows. And here we have Govinda, who had the nectar of all these devotees. You know, we got that verse where the the gopis come to the rasa dance, but Krishna wants them to go back. You know, you've come here and you've done, but obviously they refuse. But then Krishna says that there's no way he can repay you for what you've done, for the sacrifice that you made, that there's no way that I can repay you. I'm incapable of doing, reciprocating properly. So he says, Sanatana Goswami talks about this in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and he has this verse in there, and he gives a little alternative meaning to this verse. And he explains that Krishna is saying that maybe I can't reciprocate, that maybe in the future some of my devotees and followers can serve you. And Sanatana Goswami said, therefore we have Gaura Lila, where we can come to the platform where we can actually serve these gopis who served Krishna so nicely. So therefore we get into a position where we become the servants of the servants of the servants. And this is what we're taught. And this is that Gaura Lila, that all of these personalities here, they're gopis, primary, every one of them, they're all gopis. And you cannot understand, it's explained to us, we can understand the relationship with gopis and Krishna, it can only be explained by gopis. We cannot understand the relationship between cowherd boys and Krishna until it's explained by cowherd boys. And yet it's explained by someone who actually experiences it, can really give you the understanding of that relationship, of that rasa. So to be a servant can be understood clearly by someone who is already a servant. So therefore these acharyas have given us so much, so many books, so many literatures. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. The nectar's there because they experience it. 203. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane
Vishnu Padaya Krishna
Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvastesha Sanyavadi Paschatcha Desatarine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesha Sanyavadi Paschatcha Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo! Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo! Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo! Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Gaur, Hari Bol, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Gaura Premanandi Haribo. H.D. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. Prem Seho. ISKCON founder Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Krishna, Go Gopinath, Shamakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Navadvip Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Jamuna Maya ki, Ganga Maya ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakta Devi ki, Shishi Radha Golokananda ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the symbol. All glories to the symbol. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Ranga.
Vapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Braham Rita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paravijayate Sankirtanam Namakari Nita Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita niyamita smarane nakala etadrishita bakripa bhagavan mamapi dordaiva midrishami hadjanina nuraga trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Rahoita Ki Twai Ainanda Tanajram Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Badao Kribayata Vabada Bankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashru Daraya Vadanam Gad Gadurudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tava Namagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Nishena Chakshura Bhavashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamridam Nastumam Adarshana Marma Hata Karotava Yata tata bhavinato lampato mat prananatastu saevanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies, and there are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you would approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such